6 ways help you to learn programming faster. First one, look at the example code. You might should be sure to look at and try to understand every example. When I first learned the program, I would sometimes read the code examples before the text and try to figure out what they did. It does not always work, but it did force me to look at the example very carefully, and it often helped me to write clear code. The second one of these 6 ways, don't just read example code, but run it using code blocks as example. It's easy to look at the example code and say, I get it, I understand it, but you might not get it or understand well, and just don't know it. Then type the sample code into a compiler such as code blocks and test it, then compile it and run it. So you are testing it. Make sure it does what you think it does, so you'll be sure. The third one of the 6 ways, write your own code as soon as possible. These sample programs may relate to your capstone project or any physics, math, and mechanics laws. Do it practically. Relate the subject together. The computer science is very useful in this situation. If you can think of a small program to write, but you have in mind a larger program you want to implement like a game, you could start building small pieces of this idea that you can later use it for a game. Whether you use them later or not, you will get the same useful experience. Will be very useful in your programming way, this way, to do practically what in your mind, what you learn in the other subjects. The fourth one of the 6 ways, learn to use a debugger. A debugger is a tool inside the program which you are using to write the code, such as the code blocks. A debugger allows you to your code. A debugger will allow you to step line by line through a piece of code. It will let you see the values of the variables at this point and whether the code inside an if statement is executed or not. The 5th thing, seek out more sources. Every example, when I first learned to program, I would sometimes read the code examples before the text and I try to figure out what they did. It does not always work, but it did force me to look at the example very carefully, and if often helped me to write the correct code easily. And then the last one, which is solve programming problems and join contests, شارك بمسابقات and get certificates. Solve programming problems offline and online will motivate you and will and you will know your weakness points, then strengthen yourself by restudying and resolving the problem about it and reading about it, and do practically these points and these statements in code blocks. These points by reviewing and practicing the previous 5 ways regularly, and then join contests and get certificates so you will find your way of programming clear. Thanks for listening for this video. This is a reference. You can find me in these social sites, in these 4 social sites by clicking here. Okay. Thanks.